Well, we're back at long last. As you can see, the roof is now repaired. The trees all gone, apart from those are fine. And it's only taken them 4 months. Yeah, 4 months. That's why there hasn't been any videos or anything. I'm so behind now. You can see a lot of mess here. I'm sort of in the middle of making trailers because the old one, which is there, you see it's a bit rusty, and I'm going to be using a slightly bigger dinghy this year, so I needed a bigger trailer, and the old dinghy's pretty rotten now. Still usable, but it's time to change it. I've got an aluminium one sitting in the garden, so I thought I'd just well use that. But anyway, the real reason that we are here is we're going to be making crab pots, and these are some of the bits that we're going to be using. Right, just gone onto the tripod and make filming much smoother. So what you're going to need is you're going to need some alkathene pipe. It's just water pipe. Now you can either use the 20mm one or you can use the 25mm one. It doesn't really matter. The 25 will give you a bit more space for your screws when you start screwing the pipes on. I prefer to use the thinner one, but it's entirely up to you, whatever you can get hold of. Obviously the 20mm is a little bit cheaper than the 25 as well. When you're building crab pots, you want to take that into account as well, because you're going to be chucking it in the sea. So. For this particular pot, we're going to be using some recycled ones. These are ones that have come off an old pot. I'll just reuse them again. I did actually go down to the store twice now, and they have not had the pipe I want, so I'm going to have to go back again some other time. But for now, we'll just use these second-hand ones. You're going to need 2x1. You're going to need 2 lengths at about 30 inches, those ones, and those ones are around 20 inches. I'll put the sizes in the description, make life easier. The only thing is that you can adjust these if you want. You don't have to make the pot to this size or this big. It's entirely up to you. You're going to need 4 strips like this. This is just thinner. I've actually cut this down so there's no particular size, but this is for the strengtheners after, and for putting your neck in the crab pot. And you're going to need some of these. You'll need 4 of these. They're cut at 45 degrees, and they're basically, when we put like that, then we'll put them on like that, but we'll show you that afterwards. And then what you're aiming for is basically one of those, something like this. This is a much bigger one, but that's what you're going to kind of be aiming for. And again, you're going to need some screws, 30mm and about 45s. Again, thickness of the screw entirely up to you, depending on what sort of way you're going to use it, how often you're going to use it, but I kind of go with M5 or M4. Right, so the first thing you want to do is set your frame out like that, and then you want to, on each of the corners, you need to be able to put 2 pilot holes in, like so, just so that they go across onto the other wood. That's where you're going to be putting your screws in. And you do that on every corner. You don't have to be exactly precise on this. Now you only need to put the pilot hole on the small bar. It's basically when you drive the screw into the top here, that when the head pushes in, it doesn't split the wood open. Having that little hole will make a big difference. The underneath one tends not to split if you don't go too close to the edge. Now what we do, get our screws and basically get it roughly square, and just put 1 screw in. Doesn't matter which one. You can do that on all the corners. little trick as well, if your pilot hole's a bit small and it's gripping to it, when you screw in, just screw down. As you hit the other one, go into it a bit, and come out, go back down, and that'll make it nice and tight. What you find with the screws in the ocean is that they tend to be fine in the wood. They will rot, but they won't rust that quick. But what you'll find is if you've got any gaps, that's where the metal will rot, where it's getting the oxygen. Right, now, you can either, I tend to just bang the screws in because I see that it's square enough. If you want to make sure that it's properly square, get your little pieces of 45 degrees and you pop them in each corner, and they're just to strengthen the whole thing up. Because the idea of this part is it's light but it's very, very strong, and you basically do that in each corner. And what you'll need to do with these, a little bit, you'll basically need to put 2 holes in like this. When I put the bit in properly, you put 2 holes in like this. You can do it on a bench and it's easier, like that. And then you turn it up, and then this end you put one in from the end like that, at an angle. So basically when it slots onto there, you'll screw those 2 down and you'll screw one in here. And this, if you put these on before you put all your screws in, it'll square up your whole frame. But as you can see, or may not be able to see, that's actually pretty damn good. But after a while, you'll just literally better put the frames together and stick those on after, once you get used to making them. Right, so there you have it. There's your frame. I've just finished putting the screws in. So you've got your corner pieces, your ends. And that's pretty much it for this one. This is, like I say, a straightforward D-pot. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take the pipes, and what we'll do is we'll put them like this. Just use that one because it was on the end. So basically you take your pipe like that. Now you'll need a bradawl just to put a hole in the start to screw in the pipe. These already got it because obviously they're second-hand ones. Basically screw that in there, and then stick another one in there like that. You don't go all the way down, just squash your pipe a little bit, but leave it. Obviously don't flatten it, you don't want to kink your pipe too much. This stuff's pretty good though. I've had a big trawler pull one of my pots out one day when it was stuck, and it came out. It damaged one of these pipes, but it just got replaced and it was good to go again. So let's stick that one in as well, like that. Now you can put a longer screw in if you want to go into the end grain rather than and use a shorter one on the bottom one. With these each year, if you're using thin screws, you can always put an extra screw in each year when you bring them up. I'm going to put them back down again just to, if they start rusting. Or in the past I used to use galvanised nails in here, but I haven't done that for a while. You'll need to, obviously when you hammer in the centre there, you will need to put something underneath, just so you don't shake your pot apart. I just use screws because it's a lot easier these days. So you basically put it on like that, so you've got like your D shape, you can see it, like this, and then you've got to do that all the way along. Basically just put them, I say evenly. What you want to do is you want to put this, say here, but depending on what size neck you're using in the pot, you put your neck in and then space this wherever the size of your neck is, so that it fits in the middle. So I'll go ahead and quickly put all those on. Right, they're all screwed on. I normally put 2 screws in the bottom of each of these. So basically that's wide enough now that actually will, well, it will sit in there. Sitting there like so. And what you're going to need next, you're going to need these thin strips. Now these thin strips, you're going to put one this side of the neck, you're going to put one on the other side there. That'll support, so you've got a support around your neck. And then, where you've got that one there, you put one about halfway down between that and the base, down the bottom there. Like that. There's no exact spot, as long as you get them roughly in place. Like I say, it is a crab pot, it's not a piece of furniture, so it doesn't have to be, you know, perfectly accurate. And with these, little tip with these bars, as you'll see when it goes on here, it'll actually be longer than the pot. Make them longer, because then what you'll do is you screw in and you'll prevent it from splitting, because it's quite thin. Then you can cut that off later. And screw from underneath. So go through the pipe, put a bradawl through, put your screw in, screw straight up there to there. I normally use about 30mm screws. It depends on how thick your wood's going to be though. I mean, if you use very thin stuff, just angle your screw a bit. Right, so you see I've fitted all the sidebars on, so your crab pot is like this. And there's just one more thing you need to do, which is cut a piece of wood like this. I'll show you that. You have to notch it. I use a bandsaw, but I mean, you could probably use a saw and a file or a chisel to take it out if you need to. And where that goes, it's basically in the end here. It basically goes like that and like that. You put one at each end, it just strengthens it. When you put your rope on, it pulls up. Now with these end parts, I'll just show you. Because you're going into end grain anyway, you can put a couple of long screws down the bottom. Drill some holes through the bottom one, don't go straight to the wood. Like so. And same with that one. And then, on this top part here, you literally, I mean, we've got a hole there already, we can probably use it slightly off, but also cut this slightly off centre because it will be a bit of an angle if you don't. Just one straight down there, a really long one, and now that is strong because that's where your rope will attach from there to there. And when you put your rope on, like I say, you tie a knot here, and that'll hold it, and then it won't ever be able to pull apart. And with these long, originally I used to use some shorter screws up there, but I found that they popped a couple of times when the pots got jammed, so I did it that way, and it's never really had a problem since. Now with these bars you see here that we've put in, I'll show you afterwards. When all that you need to do now is net this pot, but you know, these bars, if you ever get a problem where they do break, it does happen in huge storms, not often, but when it does happen, if the pot's getting a bit older than that, if you rope those up separately with the net, you can just undo the rope, pull those bars out, and you can normally knock the screws off or unscrew it depending on how old the screws are in there, slide a new one in, rope it back up and it's fixed again. These pots will normally last sort of between 3 and 5 years, and I'm in an area where we have 10-metre tides, and I mean we can have gale force 8, storm force 10s, that sort of thing. Not that often, but we do get them, and we get the Atlantic swell, so it can be quite violent out there, and they go through all that. Like I say, depending on the weather we have over the years, these pots will last normally anywhere between 3 and 5 years. Each year when you bring them in, or if you pull them up, you can always, like I say, stick an extra screw in for the next season. They actually will rot quicker when they're out the water than they will in the water, just because of the oxygen. So there you have it, and I'll show you one in a minute, which is covered. Right, so move that to the side, and here we have one that we've had for quite a while. This one's been going for, I think it's about 2-year-old, this one. But you can see this one's only got like a flower pot in the neck, but it works. You just strap in some steel in the bottom if you're working from a boat. You can actually, because these, as you can see, these are so light, they weigh nothing, even with the net on. You can actually take them down the beach if you like, and put them off the beach, just put some rocks in them, and you can even catch lobsters there. You need to get down as close as you can to the lowest tide area. or you can drop them off rocks. I used to do that as a kid, go down the cliffs, places like that, and drop a couple of these off, keep them down there, and I used to catch crabs and lobsters and things like that. And again, the size, well, it all depends on what sort of size. You can make these a lot smaller if you, like, say, want to take one down the beach to see if you can get some lobster or some crab. And I mean, you will catch off the beach, so obviously you don't chuck them on the sand in the middle of nowhere, get them into the rocks and that. But that's how you make your basic D-pot. Very quick, very simple, and not too expensive when you do it this way. And like I say, they will last, and if any of these bars ever do break, I don't tend to rope the top bar because it never really gets to the rocks. The side one I always do, but these, like I say, if you keep that rope separate from your other ropes, where you're holding your net on, if you break a bar, you can always pull that bar straight out, and it doesn't take long just to replace it, and you're good to go again. So there you have it.